What's up, Schwartz Force? Welcome back. Episode 2, cooking with watches, and I'm going to show you how to make an actual meal. It is a lamb stew. It is badass. You are going to love it and want to cook it over and over again. But before we jump into this episode, real quick, last episode, some of you guys called me out on a mistake where I had baked this beautiful loaf of einkorn bread, and I never sliced into it. I promised I would pick up where I left off there, and then we'll get into the cooking. You can skip ahead if you want to just get into this lamb stew recipe. But let's cut into this bad boy. Now, if you're gonna cut your own bread, just real quick, invest in a high quality bread knife. Look at this thing. This is a mama's knife, looking like a katana. Man, this is what you need. So let's go ahead and take our loaf here. All right, so as you can see, we're gonna go and use this side here. Push it up against there. Got our little end piece. But look at this texture. It has this nice yellow golden color, really good nutty flavor. Let me go ahead and try this out. I'm using some of that Kerrygold butter. This is good stuff here. All right, let's give it a taste test. You guys can't see, but my dogs are circling the wagons. Oh my God. These cookies. I gotta get the recipe from Liz.
Put that cookie down now.
All right, but without further ado, we're gonna get into today's recipe. We're using the Bell & Ross BRV94. This is a Bellytanker Chronograph limited edition. I just picked this watch up, and it's actually perfect for the timing of this recipe, so we'll get to that a little bit later in the video. Let me go and show you the ingredients. We'll flip the camera around. Let's get started. Okay, so a couple tips real quick. The meat that we're using here is from the leg of lamb, and I've diced it up into like 2-inch chunks or so. You can pick up a boneless leg and cut it up yourself. I think some stores will sell chopped like stewed chunks like this already. So basically the tip is to take it out of the fridge, get it prepped, and let it get up to room temperature. The last thing you're gonna wanna do is add cold meat to a hot pan, because that's gonna bring down the temperature of the pan. And what we're trying to do, we'll get here in a second, we're gonna sear it and get a nice caramelization on the edges. And if you let the pan get too cold too quickly, it's gonna do more of like a boiling kind of effect. We don't want that. The other thing too is baby yellow Yukon Gold potatoes. I don't like using russets for this recipe. I like these baby golds. If you can't get the baby versions, then you should be able to just get Yukon Gold. Just cut them up into, like, again, 1 to 2-inch chunks. And then to save time, I don't like washing and peeling carrots, so I just buy the pre-peeled and cut carrots, and I just basically cut these in half, and that saves a lot of time on prep. Want to get your parsnips, wash them, peel them, and then cut them up into about 1 to 2-inch chunks. And then lastly, your 2 yellow onions, medium size, and just rough chop these. And that's all we're gonna do. Of course, we got our bone broth. You can use stock, whatever. And you're gonna need 2 containers of this. These are 32 ounce, so 2 of those. Olive oil, which we'll use on the meat, and then some thyme. This wouldn't be a cooking with watches video without a little bit of thyme. Oh my gosh, gut buster. Put a thumbs down, I don't care, whatever. And shall we? Now, you're gonna wanna use either a deep or thick saute pan like this one here. It's gonna hold a good amount of liquid in it along with our veggies and meat. But what I'm gonna actually use today is my Le Creuset. This is a French or Dutch oven, basically enameled cast iron. It's really thick, really heavy. What I like about this particular one is, of course, as you can see, it's much larger than my saute pan, so I can fit a lot more volume in here, add more veggies, get more meat. Funny story with the meat thing. So when I first made this dish, I had about a pound and a half of lamb, and when my wife went to go get seconds, she actually picked out all the meat. So when I went to go get more, it was just vegetable stew, and it's kind of like ordering a jelly-filled donut, and you bite into it, and it's nothing. There's nothing there. It's just air. So I learned my lesson. That's why I bought an extra couple pounds to throw into this dish, so that way she doesn't just eat it all and leave me with veggies. So let's get over to the stove and start cooking. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get this on about medium high. We're gonna start warming this pot up. We wanna get it pretty hot. basically, again, we want it to cause that caramelization as soon as the meat gets into the pan. Yeah, 4s, 5s. We're gonna add in our oil, then toss in the meat. So here's an example of the browning from that searing. That's what you want on majority of your meat. Obviously, as you can already see the temperature started to drop a little bit. So not every single side of every piece of meat has that, but that's what you're kind of looking for. So we're gonna after a few minutes, then we'll go ahead and add in the veggies minus the potatoes. So we're just gonna dump everything in. We'll take our bone broth or bone beef stock, whatever you're gonna use. You can use chicken, it doesn't matter. We're gonna dump that in there. Take a few sprigs of our thyme. I just rinsed these off. We're gonna dump those in there as well. And now we wanna bring this up to a boil. So let's give it a couple minutes. All right, so we got our stew to a boil. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to use our Bellytanker watch. And obviously this works with any chronograph, but what I love about this one for this recipe is the sub-dial over here goes up to 30 minutes, which is perfect because we're going to want to drop the temperature on this down to a simmer. We're going to cover it, but in 30 minutes, we're going to add the potatoes to the stew. So we'll go ahead and start our chronograph. Boom. Now when this goes a full revolution for 30 minutes, then we're going to come in, we'll add our potatoes to the stew. And again, drop this down to a very low simmer. Get it covered. We'll check up on that in 30 minutes. As you can see, it's almost been the full 30 minutes, so let's go ahead and add in our potatoes. Same thing, so our timer's already going again. Another round of 30 minutes. That's what I love about this chronograph is it doesn't stop, it just keeps running. So we're gonna give the stew another 30 minutes to let those potatoes cook down, and then we're actually gonna cover it and then season it at the end. Alrighty, boom, there we go. So it's been an hour. Let's go ahead and open her up. Oh yeah, there we go. Now one of the last things I like to do is take a ricer, which is this right here. We're gonna take some of these potatoes. What we're gonna do is basically mash these up. We're gonna stir that in. That's just gonna help kind of thicken up the sauce a little bit. Now don't forget to season this and then of course taste it. So we're gonna put a little bit of salt and pepper. And let's get this plated. Cooking with watches, there you go, the Bell & Ross Bellytanker Dusty, which we will do a review on in the future. And here we go, voila. Simple recipe. This stuff is amazing. I'm gonna let this rest for just a little bit and we'll give it a quick taste test. Okay, lesson learned. Last time you guys got pissed I didn't taste test it, so it smells so good. Let me grab a piece of that lamb meat. Super tender. That freshness from the parsley. You get some of those other flavors. A little bit of the sweetness from the parsnips. I'd probably add a little bit more seasoning, a little bit more pepper. Give this recipe a try. I think you'll really enjoy it. This is just one of my other passions. I'll kind of do more of these and sprinkle them out throughout the year. But if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Of course, I can't wait to see you all at the next watch review, which will be coming up soon. Until then, may the Schwartz be with you. Take care.